Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Hopefully, everybody's doing well. Everybody doing okay? Thank you so much, Steve and Mike, for kicking off the contribution. Thank you. I appreciate you. And thank you so much. Mike said, good afternoon. We finally got a break from that crazy snow and ice along with the minus 10-degree weather here in Chicago. From the title and the thumbnail, I've been waiting for you to talk about this. Thank you so much, sweetheart. So I wanted to talk about this. The only reason that I didn't bring up a specific video but yet a specific video sort of inspired this, is because the video that inspired what we talking about today is a live stream that was done over on the channel Hardly Initiated. They have some interesting topics that they cover. I don't necessarily like the way they cover the topics, but they have them anyways. And the last one that I saw was, I think, one that aired Sunday, and it was talking about women giving other women the game, quote unquote, on divorce. And these were like two Black female lawyers. And the only reason that I'm not bringing up their video actually is because it was very long. It was very detailed. And to be honest, I did something on their content last week, and I didn't want to repeat that because I don't like making a habit of bringing up other people's content necessarily, even though I see a lot of people's content that would actually make a good show for me. There's a fine line between using their content to make your content or you coming up with original content. If y'all understand the difference. I'm also going to, I like comment section Sunday. That might have to start being my Friday show. I'm not going to keep moving stuff around, but I do want to address it. And this is a lot of people felt the way about my video this morning when I was talking about the way in which fathers bond with their unborn children is different from the way mothers bond with their unborn children. I have never birthed children, although I have been pregnant 4 times. So there is a portion that I cannot speak to because I didn't go through the full pregnancy to birth. So I wouldn't be able to explain from experience labor pains. I would not be able to explain from experience having a big belly and not being able to sleep because you're just that uncomfortable. I would not be able to explain from experience everything that you go through physically, hormonally, right after you birth a child, because I've never done that, right? So I tread carefully when I talk about it. I talk about the part I know about. I talk about the part that anybody can know about, and then the part that comes from personal experience, I leave that, mainly because I've never done it. And I don't like to almost not disrespect, but speak out of turn when there are biological mothers that listen to me and mothers that are in my chat. And they can speak more truthfully about the experience because they actually had the experience. Um, Obviously, everybody is not going to experience becoming a mother, whether it was your first child or your fifth child, or experience fatherhood, whether it was your first child or your fifth child, the same way. I speak in general terms because that's how I speak. And on this platform, I have to speak like that, right? It doesn't matter as a father how involved you were with your wife and her pregnancy, how supportive you were, how much empathy you had for what she was going through physically on a physical level. While commendable, it's wonderful. Please don't say that you were experiencing the same thing to the same level that your wife was experiencing while carrying your child. Please don't do that. And the reason why I speak to that is because this is not one of those channels where I say women create life. I give men the due respect that they carry the seed of life. And they give that seed to the women that they impregnate. I didn't say fathers don't bond with their unborn children. I said that they bond differently than their wives do with unborn children, mainly because he's not physically changing the way that she's physically changing. It's not a little ways down the pregnancy you feel it. No. When I got pregnant, before I told my late husband anything, I was physically, emotionally, and mentally connected to a child that would not have even qualified as a child. Do you understand that? It don't happen down the line. It is immediate. That is an immediate switch, especially if it's a baby you wanted. I'm not saying that when I had those miscarriages that he didn't feel a way, or that he didn't feel a way when I told him that I was pregnant. I'm sure that he did. I'm not saying he didn't have any emotional response or connection to it, but he didn't have what I had. And that doesn't make it better or worse. It just makes it different. Because for as connected as you want to be with what your wife went through, I bet you when them labor pains hit, you wasn't connected to that. So it's not the same. It's different. It's different. I didn't say he's not involved. I didn't say that there's no effect for him, even emotionally. Not just in the way that he gotta move, in the way he's emotionally affected, he's mentally affected, he's affected, especially if he live with the mother, y'all married, you know what I'm saying? He's watching you go through these physical changes and things of that nature. You're not going through it in a vacuum. He's going through things with you, but it's not the same. Because like I said, when that pregnancy pain hit, when that labor pain hit, and that cervix need to dilate 10 centimeters, I bet you it's different then. How connected was you with that? And that's not me belittling it. I'm just saying it's different. It's just different. So I hope that that was clear. Anyway, so we're going to talk about how marriage, and see, this is what I'm saying, right? Because Bella says, Nicole, when that water break, right? And Nicole said, when them 10 centimeters. See, this is why I talk the way that I talk about it, because I don't share that experience. I don't know what it feel like. Do you understand me? To actually birth a child. I don't know. So I would never speak to it as if I knew, as if that's something that I personally went through, because I almost feel like it's disrespectful to the women who have actually birthed children. So let me see, what is this? So I want to talk about why marriage is actually useless to men. Even though I'm not going to bring up the video that inspired this, I still wanted to talk about it because I don't need the video to talk about the issues that make marriage worthless for men. Because there was a lot of gaslighting in the chat of the video that I'm referring to. There was a lot of gaslighting from the participants on the ladies who was being interviewed. You could hear the hyena cackle in the background. And when I say that, I don't mean how they were talking or how they were presenting physically, in terms of they wasn't being ratchet. These were the educated sisters, right? You could hear the gynocratic. It almost made me sick to my stomach because I heard everything that I heard coming between the chat and the ladies that was being interviewed and answering questions. All that I could hear was women have zero, not only accountability in marriage, but they have zero responsibility that's all I heard. All I heard was that women are not expected to have two of the most important things that you gotta have as a person, whether you in a relationship or not, and especially if you are in a marriage, because these are divorce lawyers, so we wasn't talking about people who didn't have marriages. We were talking specifically about marriage. The two things that they were that women feel like they don't need or is not required is accountability and responsibility. They not accountable for nothing and they not responsible for nothing. That concept stretched into what I was talking about earlier today when the guy talked about the dating a different person when she's had a baby, and they was like, oh well, mothers go through this and mothers go through that. And that's not to say mothers don't go through nothing. We like, I understand that postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis is actually an actual physical thing that women go through. Once your hormones crash that way and your body is trying to re-regulate itself now that there's not another human being in it, that is something. That's also why I don't know how these chicks be banging out these kids without no husband and without no familial support system, because women that are going through postpartum actually have to be monitored. Even if she never tells you I'm going through postpartum depression, most mothers don't realize that that's what's happening. They need to be just watched, just observed more so. That's the word I'm looking for. She needs to be observed. Particularly as it pertains to her behavior towards the child. Because one of the things that you can kind of pick up on, it can be difficult to pick up on a woman that's going through postpartum. But sometimes what she will do is an aloofness between her and the child, or like a disconnect. She'll mechanically do change the diaper, feed the baby, whatever, but there won't be this. It'll be like she'll be looking at it like, you again? You up? You crying? Your diaper. You know, and it'll be that. And it's more than her being physically exhausted. There's a disconnect there. Because she just needs to be observed. Is she bothering to shower, or, you know what I'm saying, groom herself, or have hygiene for herself, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, is she bothering to do those things too? Where is she emotionally, mentally? Where is she at? And postpartum depression can be mild, or it can be more serious. So I'm not here to say that that's not real. It is real. There's a scientific backing up for all of that. There's no way that it's not real. There's no way that you can go through a 9-month pregnancy, actually birth a child out, and there's no mental or emotional shift that happens to you. Like, how you handle it, that's different for each woman. But in any case, I'm a little bit diverting off the point. The point that I'm really trying to make is the concept that she's not responsible for anything and she's not accountable for anything. What I really heard, because the title of the video was they're giving the game, the divorce game, to women. And that bothered me because divorce is a game. The divorce game. And it was literally game. It was literally what to do to get the most money out of a situation if you can get money out of it. If there's money to be split, if there's assets to be split, if there's property to be split, if there's things to be split, how do you get it to the point where, and the host didn't call it out, but at one point, probably about an hour or two into it, one of the lawyers basically was telling females that if they wanted to make sure that they got like the house and make sure that they got custody of the children, but that like leading up to the divorce or whatever, they need to make sure that they spend all of the time with the children and not him. So I typed in the chat, I was like, so low-key parental alienation. We're going to make sure to start separating the children away from their fathers for the impending divorce, with the concept that this plays into the long game to get the custody and therefore secure maybe the house, secure the child support to the highest degree, and all of that type of stuff. And I was just sickened by the concept of it. I was sickened by the concept that it is a game, which is what sparked me to say that marriage is useless to men, because it's being gone into with the concept that the women are going to initiate leaving, divorcing. They're the ones that are going to file. Now, no accountability, because no one talked about why these women really file for these divorces. It was talked about from the standpoint that while she may be the one that goes into the divorce office, the lawyer's office, to file, he's the one whose fault it is that they're getting a divorce. She's only doing that because of things that she's been putting up with from him that makes it to where she's got to go ahead and pull the trigger, because men don't pull the trigger. And when the guys who hosted the show was like, yeah, because men are actually loyal, they're going to give like a little side eye, y'all loyal. And they were like, yeah, we're loyal because we put up with a lot of stuff. Y'all the only ones put up with a lot of stuff. And they was like, maybe not, but we put up with a lot and we will trudge through. We will continue to have a marriage because we don't want to break what we built. We don't want to break what we built. It took a long time to get to whatever point we got to, especially if we got somewhere. So why would we want to just mess that up? And not only were the two ladies that they were interviewing kind of blew that off, but it was going on in the chat, and just the widespread mindset, this lost value system, our family don't matter, nothing matters. They was like, yeah, if it's not serving you no more, just get a divorce. And it's like, of course they would say that because they divorce lawyers. If people aren't consistently getting divorces, then they don't have a job, right? They don't have clientele. So they have a vested interest in people filing for divorces, no matter who filed, right? Just as long as people are getting divorces. And this is why marriage, as particularly through the state, is not something that men find to be a smart move. They don't find that they're if they do want to get married, if they do want to settle families and things of that nature, this is why you have men who look for alternative ways to solidify and differentiate girlfriend, boyfriend cohabitation from committed, this is how we're married. We're married like this. This is why you've got men that are looking for other ways. Don't want to do that through the state, not going down to the justice of the peace or whatever, city hall or whatever, to get these marriage licenses through the state, because it's an invitation for the divorce. And it really is, because the marriage and divorce, specifically the divorce laws, are rooted in the lost value system, and it is rooted in, and if it is rooted in the lost value system, then where is family on this scale? It's way down at the bottom. It's defined as who we are connected to and have a relationship with. When you look over here underneath the number, it says number 8, no loving support. There's no loving support for keeping it together. It's only support you get. It don't have no love in it, and we support splitting it. We support splitting y'all. That you can go and get full support from. Even like counseling. And I would love to be a proponent of couples counseling, finding a therapist, but you got to really vet, just like any other doctor. You're going to have to vet these therapists, especially women, because so many of them are gynocrats. Like, I don't think people understand how insidious the gynocracy has been and is. They are in the CPS, child protective systems. They are in the school systems. They are in the psychiatry and psychology fields. They are in these various fields to protect the sisterhood, to protect the gynocracy. That's what they're there for. They're put in place. They're gatekeeping for the gynocracy. Just like the chick that was in the video that I did earlier today, that was in the store with the little boy, talking about, yeah, this ain't, do you think this is the first time CPS been calling me? Of course not. Because the hyenas that are in the child protective services, they are gynocrats of the highest order. Of course they protect other hyenas. They human traffic. They be trafficking the girls. Remember last year, I think it was last year, that I did a video or show on the CPS worker, social worker, that was trying to get the underage girl like trafficked, and nobody wants to talk about that. So we're not going to talk about the gatekeeping of the gynocracy that the gynocracy do? That's almost a completely different show. The gatekeeping of the gynocracy. They help hyenas. Women, old girl in Walmart, these hyenas that's in the CPS will take them children, instead of giving them to the father, they'll give them to a member of her family where she continues to have access to the children Unsupervised, they're not going to follow those court orders. Unsupervised, so that she can continue to have access to do whatever kind of abuse or whatever it is she was doing to that kid to get that kid taken from her in the first place. This is why they don't take them when she pop new ones out. They let her have the kid for a little bit so she can abuse them, so that they have a reason to put them back in the system. So that's a way to make money off the kids that's in the system, but they're not really protecting the children because they allow the child's abuser to have consistent access no matter what they put in that court order, because they absolutely will not give that child to that dad. That man that flagged the police down had to have physical video evidence of his child being physically abused, a 2-month-old, in order to have them go directly to her residence and get that baby and give it to him. Do you know what kind of foolishment he would have had to go through if he had just approached the court or the police without that evidence? Tell them that she's unfit. They'll wait till she unalive that baby before they get that baby to him. They'll rather have them unalive than to give them to their daddy. Do you understand? This is the depth of what we're talking about breaking these families up. So when I saw a video talking about the divorce game and it had to be 2 black women talking about, if you want to be able to get the kid, then make sure you spend the most time with them, basically break the relationship. What if they close to them kids is those children are accustomed to seeing their daddy every day? Then what does that do to them to make sure that you carefully make sure that they're not having the type of connection and spending the time that they're accustomed to spending between the kid and the daddy? Like, I'm going to go to commercial and we're going to come back because we're going to list the 4 to 5 things that make marriage useless to men. But after these messages, we'll be right back because I need everyone to go to ashkicking.com. I've pinned the link to the top of the chat. If you are wanting, just like I do, to keep your skin looking, feeling, smelling its best and being extra super soft and moisturized, then look no further than ashkicking.com. Go ahead and pick up a jar of their body butter. It's some of the creamiest, smoothest body butter that I've ever used. The smell is perfect. Like, it's a perfect balance. You just got to try. You just got to get it. If this is going to be your first time, then please take advantage of a 10% discount that you can receive by using the promo code Crimson. Once again, go to ashkicking.com. Pick up one of any number of body care products that you want: the body butter, the lip balm, the facial moisturizer, the deodorants, even the incense. So give your whole body and home a vibe, okay? The Ash Kicking vibe. So once again, go ahead, click the link for ashkicking.com and place your order. I don't know how many likes I need, but I need y'all to give y'all a bam, 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 bam. You gotta hit the like button, bam, bam. You gotta So go ahead, hit the like button if you have not hit it. Let me go ahead and look at these super chats real quick. Thank you, Miss Lou Casely, for your super sticker, beloved. Thank you, Amun said, peace and blessings. Just easy to make you aware. I kept getting unsubscribed, 3rd time subscribing. They're not gonna stop what you're doing because it's vital to our people. Thank you for all you do in this YouTube street. I believe you. You know why? Because when I go to my studio sometimes and I refresh it, it'll be drop a couple of people And then the next time I refresh it, those same couple of people will be back, maybe more. So I know that it's unsubscribing people, but thank you so much for keeping an eye on it and making sure that you're still subscribed and contributing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dale. I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much, Robert. Said Lakers, though, what happened to the Bulls? I don't know what happened to them because I'm not a Bulls fan. I was a 90s Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen fan. Not a Bulls fan. I'm not a basketball fan at all. Like I don't like basketball. I like the 90s era. But I stopped watching it. Basketball. I don't like basketball no more. Made too many changes. Nobody does defense anymore. I don't want to see it. I'm more now my loyalty is with the Bears, whether I watch football or not. You see what I'm saying? But thank you so much. Thank you, Frederick. So the people in the back never get understanding. Yeah. Thank you, Common Man. So my daughter bonded with me before she was born. Every time I would visit my daughter's mother, my daughter would start kicking. When I put my hand on mom's stomach, she would push my hand. Thank you so much. Took notice in marriage as a contract or marriage as a covenant. Only one is blessed. So know the difference. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I know these the Lakers colors, but I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm not a fan of nobody. Mm-mm. Yeah, I know these Lakers colors. I know he was talking about my colors. The gold with the purple. Yeah. Cause I was rocking the red and black the other day. All right. No. He had potential, but I was done. After that second three-peat, it was let's wrap this up by the year 99. You see what I'm saying? Let's wrap this up. Once they broke that team up, I knew that they were gonna go into rebuild because they gotta go into rebuild. And then the rebuild is always suck because your team had to start from scratch. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you gotta start over because you gotta start over. But then it sucked when the rebuild never get built right, and you're not gonna recapture Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, right? But you can be competitive. Once I realized that that was it, I was like, oh y'all done turned into the Bears now. Ain't won a Super Bowl since '85. Like we ain't. So, divorce being a game and why marriage is useless, right? The one thing that women do to make marriage useless is the fact that divorce is a game that women can play that favors women because they wanted to say that the laws that they were talking about were indiscriminate. and that men could take advantage of the law. While that may be technically correct, because many laws are not written with a gender in mind. Many, notice I didn't say all. But we all understand that family court is biased towards women. So if a man goes in and tries to apply what should be universal laws that are not specified to any gender or sex, he not gonna get the same result, and the judge is not gonna look at him the same. Nobody's gonna look at him the same way, because even when they was talking about it and they started talking about men getting alimony, even the two lawyers that was up there was like, oh, so a man just gonna get a woman's money after you spent 3 hours talking about how a woman can get a man's money. Then it was supposed to be some type of pariah that a man would be like, nope, it's war. I'm gonna get everything I can. She make more than me. We gonna see about it. Just like they was mad Mary J had to pay. You know what I'm saying? They'd be mad when they have to do the very thing that they be trying to get men to do, which is pay for your lifestyle after we ain't with you no more. The next thing that women do is they make married life unbearable. One of the main things that women like to do to make marriage unbearable is this. This is one of the main things that females like to do. Withhold sex. That's at the top of a hyena's list. At the top of a hyena's list to begin the destruction of her marriage on the road to divorce. On the road, especially if this man has some type of benefits, income, money, property, assets, whatever it is that he has, that she has an eye on. One of the first things that she employs is the withholding of sex. The object of withholding sex is to drive him to infidelity, because infidelity is usually one of the things, even in a prenup, that would give her access to funds and a lifestyle, blah, 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 during a divorce. Okay? It is meant to drive him to a point where he doesn't have much choice but to get that need met elsewhere. The perfect ploy to use as an excuse to withhold sex is to have a child. Now you can see me coming full circle. She's a sexual vixen during dating, during engagement, the first, part of the marriage after. She's a vixen. You can't stop her from bouncing on it. You can't stop her. She's hot. She's a sex kitten. You understand? You can't give her the D fast enough. You can't give her enough. Never enough. She will have you like, oh my God, that's all she do. This is all she do. And he be in heaven because it's like, okay, I got a chick. She like doing all this stuff. She like having sex with me. I don't have to like beg her for it and blah, 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 blah. She initiated sometime. She don't say no. you know, all this good stuff. He feel like he in good, in like Flynn. She pop up pregnant. Oh, in his mind, he's like, oh, okay, good. We're having a baby, you know, whatever adjustment he gotta make, all of these sorts of things. He begins to prepare in all the ways that he prepares to welcome a new child into the family, right? He's gonna be a dad, da 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 da. After she has this baby, he is patient. He knows that there is a time period for when she's not gonna have sex. The doctor tell you don't have sex for 6 weeks. I listen, from what not biologically, you do not want to be having sex prior to them 6 weeks. That you do not want to do that. And you know, a lot of chicks that do it just by the small age gap in between some of their kids. You know, she got pregnant during that 6-week time period. The doctor recommend 6 weeks, whether you're bleeding all 6 weeks or not. They recommend first 6 weeks, do not have sex. You're gonna come back for your checkup and things, and the doctor know if you had sex or not, right? Because what they're trying to tell you is your vagina needs to heal. Take 6 weeks on average for your vagina itself, the birth canal itself, to actually start healing up. You may not be bleeding that entire time, right? Some women bleed for the majority of that time. Some women bleed like a week or two, and then they be done with that part of it, right? Your womb and the rest of that is still healing. But your vagina, in 6 weeks, they tell you to come back. They want to do a checkup, make sure everything is the way that it's supposed to be. After the 6 weeks, even if she's not inspired necessarily to be sexual, you need to give your man sex, because it was probably spotty during that last month or so anyway, just because some women are very uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't really do sex. This is the last like month I'm gonna be pregnant. I'm in this 9th month and this is ridiculous. Okay. So I can't really do this. Like, the way we gonna have to do this, I don't even know. Like, please, God, don't let me, you know what I'm saying? Some women be fine all up until the point of labor. You know what I'm saying? It's different for each woman. However, after them 6 weeks, you probably want to go ahead and give your man, before the 6 weeks is up, you're gonna have to employ your throat. I'm sorry. They don't even do that. They don't even do that. Y'all are not even orally doing nothing for you. You're completely ignoring his sexual need. You may not be able to get him the box. We understand that part. We get that part. He get that part. Like, okay, I can't have sex with you. Okay. But then you don't give him no throat. After the 6 weeks, you don't give him no box. 7th week, 8th week, 10th week, 12th week, 6 months, 8 months. This is after the birth of a kid, mind you. After. You're not still dealing with the same thing that you was dealing with when you first had that baby. Your body going through some of that initial dramatic hormonal change that done leveled out for the most part. Because we also, even though I acknowledge that postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis is real, it's also not as rare as people think, and it's not as common either, especially the psychosis. The psychosis is even more rare than the postpartum depression. right? It's even more rare. So postpartum psychosis is actually rare. It's not super common. Because the thing is that you can't forget he's there. That's what I was trying to point to earlier in the video. It's not that all these changes aren't taking place. It's not that these adjustments aren't taking place. It's just that when a woman get a kid, that's the replacement for the man, not an inclusion and an addition to a family. Her child in the gynocracy, a child replaces a man because once she has a child, she can welcome herself to the resources of the man without the man. I asked my mom. I asked my mom. I asked her one time. I said, "Mom, was you like one of them women that didn't want to have sex after your kids and it was a long time? Like, was you one of them kind of women?" She said, "Please, no." She's like, "Before them 6 weeks was up," she was like, "I was so hot, I was going crazy." She said, "The only reason I didn't do it is because I was scared because the doctor said don't do that. And so I didn't do it." She said, "But no sooner than I got clearance from that doctor." She said, "No sooner than I got clearance from that doctor. I came home that day." Okay. And when your daddy got in there and I had them put y'all to bed, she said I was on him like a whirlwind. I was on him like a whirlwind. She's like, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to get back to sex with my husband. She's like, months. She said, I'm not, she's like, I'm not a part of that group. I had 4. It was the same for all 4 of y'all. And she was like, I don't understand. She was like, I don't, maybe some women go through that. I don't know. But my mama was like, I was hot as a wired up 6-shooter, baby. She said, your daddy did not know what hit him. I hit him like a whirlwind no sooner than I was able to do so physically. She was like, baby, bye. She was like, hey, nope. Like, I wanted him. If I get pregnant again, I'll just get pregnant again. Oh, well. She's like, oh, well, I wanted him. Well, I'm waiting on. I already waited. It's been 6 weeks for me, too. She's like, it was 6 weeks for me, too. Well, I want him to wait. I'm not waiting. We're not waiting another 24 hours. I'm going to get him as soon as he get in here. He ain't going to be able to take a bath good. I said, okay, mama. She said, yeah. She said, I don't know. She said, some women do tell me that they sex drive go down after they get a baby and stuff like that. She said, I guess so. But I just wasn't one of them. I said, okay. So it ain't even every woman doing that. I knew that was cap because it'd be too many women pregnant or just had their baby a month or 2 ago on Kendra G looking for another eggplant. So I know it's be capped for a lot of them. Oh, he just ain't in the mood. Yes, you in the mood. Yes, you is. So the withholding of the sex. Another point that my mother brought up to me in that conversation as well. She said it helped her regulate. She said that was one of her things. She said women that don't want to have sex, she said they probably should because it helped you. She said it helped me get my mind right. She said because I would kind of look at y'all a little bit like this a whole baby. Mm-mm-mm. She said, but then sometime I would feel that way. She said, then I feel different after me and your daddy. She said, then it'd be all right then after that. It was all right. She said, so maybe they should have had sex to help. She said, I don't know if it's no science behind that or not. She said, but it helped me. She said, you don't always be feeling like it. She said, but you probably should. I can believe her when she say that, because even outside of the concept of being pregnant and babies and stuff, this is actually one of the suggestions that I have for women whenever they get into a space where they feel their sex drive decline and they don't be feeling like having sex or whatever. It don't be necessarily nothing going on. They just don't feel like it. I be telling them go have sex anyway. That's the time you don't feel like having sex, don't deny him sex, give him sex. Go ahead, give him sex. You will realize that you actually needed that adjustment. It's literally an attitude adjuster. Like, go on in there and give up the cakes. Go ahead, give up the cakes. Let him clap the cheeks. You be feeling like a whole new woman. You a whole new female after he clapped the cheeks. Like, oh, okay. Cool. All right. Oh, that was all it was. That was because I was feeling away. I had a whole thing going on. Like, after that, I'm good. Because we be having a whole thing going on sometimes, whether babies or not. You don't even gotta be pregnant and just having all the hormone stuff. Just let your husband clap your cheeks. Go on, let your husband. Let your husband clap your cheeks. Just do it. Thank me later. Thank me later. Listen, y'all gotta do better about this withholding the sex. Y'all gotta do better than that. Do better than that. But it's a setup. One thing leads to another. After she have this child, the space, them 6 weeks, 2-3 month space where she's dealing with the newborn, getting adjusted, she will utilize something that is real and exaggerated. What do I mean by that? She will utilize something that is actually taking place, the adjustment and all of that, but she will exaggerate the whole thing to be lasting much longer than what it really lasts. She'll tell you she's feeling all of these feelings way after she's not really feeling them things that way anymore. She'll tell you she's so overwhelmed with taking care of the baby and taking care of the house and all of the well beyond the point where she's not really overwhelmed anymore. She uses that as an excuse to not have accountability for you and responsibility for her duties. So now you've got to deal with dirty homes. You've got to deal with filth, laziness, sleep all day. See, she'll take something that's actually real and then exacerbate in order to not achieve any balance. And she utilizes having the baby and all that as a justification as to why she can now talk to you a certain type of way that she wasn't doing before. how she can withhold sex way more often when she wasn't doing that before at all. So this is 6 months, 8 months, sometimes a year and a half or so down the line after a child, where she's still talking about hormones and being overwhelmed and not wanting to have sex. That will become his fault. This leads into this. The next thing that she will do is this: the emotional disconnect. Not having sex for a prolonged period of time after withholding it, after a child, she withholds the sex. This creates the emotional disconnect. She's sabotaging it. She's running game now. Emotionally disconnect. If a man is sexually disconnected and emotionally disconnected from his wife, she's driving him towards infidelity in the hopes that at some point in this marriage he's gonna crack. And because men don't initiate divorces the majority of the time, he's more prone to see this need met and come back in secrecy. Okay. So now, while this withholding of the sex is happening, the emotional disconnect is growing wider and wider. It's becoming deeper and deeper. It's becoming more and more irreparable. Now, this is where you are having arguments. This is where you're having these disagreements. This is where the discontentment in the house, the tension in the house, you're not talking anymore. You're not communicating anymore. He doesn't want to hear it. She don't want to hear it. Sex may or may not happen every once and again. And then when it do, it's not the way that it was before, there, because the emotional connection is dwindled. So therefore, once the emotional connection is dwindled, men and this is fostered. Women be feeling hyenas, specifically, not lionesses. Hyenas feel justified because they've convinced themselves that men do not have emotional connection with sex with the women they love. This is all wrapped up in not listening to what men are talking about. Okay? Because men have two different attention types, right? Sex and relationship. Men also have two different sex types. Men have two different sex types. Unemotional, physical release sex with the woman he loves. The unemotional, physical release sex is just that. Sex with a female that he does not have any particular emotional connection towards. Therefore, his sex is strictly in order to get off. He's just trying to get it off. He just want to clap her cheeks in particular. For whatever reason, he's turned on by her. And then there's the sex he's having with his wife, the woman that he loves. The sex he's having with her, in order for that sex to be fulfilling for him, the emotional connection has to be there. If that emotional connection is broken, the sex for him with you is not as fulfilling. He don't really want it. It forcibly becomes something that he does to get off, but he doesn't want to do it that way with you. You're the woman he loves. So therefore, that emotional connection that he actually has with you enhances his sexual experience. Men choose who they're going to have an emotional connection to and then have sex with that person. How he has sex with her is different than how he would have sex with your average thought. Okay. So the no sex, first is a bunch of sex, then get pregnant, have the baby, let having the baby spiral into an excuse for not having sex on any kind of regular basis at all. She'll blame it on the baby. She'll blame it on hormones. She'll blame it on housework. She'll blame it on the man. It'll be everybody's fault but hers. It'll be every other circumstance that's not her choices. She'll deflect that away instead of saying these are her decisions. She doesn't want to have sex with you anymore. It's not that she stopped being attracted. A lot of times these hyenas do be wanting, they be just as hot as they was before. But the long game is to withhold it from you. They be just as hot as they was before. This is why sometimes a man, a catcher with all these sex toys, thought you didn't have no sex drive no more. You got something. Cause what you got that for? And then it'll turn into an argument, a discussion about how he no longer pleases her. And then she has to go and resort to all of these other things. And it'll be his fault again. It'll always be his fault. That's the key. The key is that it must be turned around to his fault. She's just as attracted as she was before. She's getting hot the same way she was before. So if she don't cheat first, she'll have these toys. Sometimes she'll have them either way. The point is to drive the men to cheat. That's the point. Because men, see, they listen, they selectively hear things. Because men have already said what would drive them to infidelity in a marriage. When do they consider it an option? And the main thing is like a woman that don't want to have sex with me. See, they don't say, men don't typically say, I'll divorce her if she doesn't have sex with me. He says, I'll get it somewhere else if she doesn't have sex with me. So this is what they're playing on. Right? Because men aren't going to go down 9 times out of 10 to the court and say, she don't want to have sex with me, so I'm getting a divorce. Right? Now, not only after it is being achieved, the emotional disconnect has been achieved. There's tension, there's arguing, there's narrowly any good communication. All of their communication is stressed, strife. and all of these sorts of things. She does this. Offload emotional work to him. She will offload emotional work to him. Now he becomes emotionally responsible. Hold on one second. My apologies. I needed to answer that. Right. So she'll offload all of the emotional work to him. After the emotional disconnection, she'll talk about, remember when I just did a show a couple weeks ago about why men don't open up about their feelings? Remember it was the clip with the couple in there with the therapist. That's this point. Offload all of the emotional work of the relationship to him. Now it's not only she does, this is what I mean by she doesn't have accountability, she also doesn't have any responsibilities. She's not responsible for his physical needs. She's not responsible for emotional needs. She's not responsible for any of the emotional needs to be met, not his, not hers. You understand? It is on the man to make her feel happy, to make himself happy. It's on the man to make her feel sexy, to make himself feel wanted and seen. It's on the man to make her feel safe, to make himself feel comfortable. It's on the man to make sure that everything, it's on him. All of the emotional work and responsibility of that work is placed on the man in this situation. You go to therapy. Man finally starts opening up about what's really bothering him, getting down to the nitty gritty of the things that actually bother him. And even the therapist will throw it on him. Well, you know, what do you do to mitigate? None of the responsibility is hers. To make sure that the needs of her husband are being met in any reasonable way. She doesn't feel it's her responsibility to make sure that the home is peaceful, to make sure that the relationship is peaceful. You see that albino hyena sat up there and said a man that wants his peace is a red flag. It's not her responsibility to make sure that he has a sense of contentment and peace in the relationship. It is not her responsibility to make sure that even that he comes home to clean home, nicely kept home, and well-reared children. Not her responsibility to make sure the dinner is made. Not her responsibility to make sure that his sexual needs are being met. Men want to feel wanted. Women think that they're the only ones that want to feel sexy. Men want to feel wanted. He don't want to have to initiate sex all the time. Sometimes he wants you to be looking at him and come over there and just get him. Just go over there and just get him. Men like that. Men want to feel desired and wanted and sexually, you know what I'm saying? Like he turned you on. Men like that feeling. They may not express it in the same exact way that women express that, but men love to feel sexy. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Men love to feel sexy. And the thing that makes them feel sexy is you initiating sex with them, you initiating intimacy with them, you initiating wanting to touch them, wanting to kiss them, wanting them to touch you. This is where non-sexual intimacy comes from: hugging him, walking up and hugging him, walking up and kissing him, smiling at him, winking at him, flirting with him. You flirt with him sometimes. Okay? Come get him. He wants to feel sexy. Why is that just his job? Why is it only his job to make sure that everybody feels sexy and wanted? Hmm? So all of the emotional disconnect is blamed on him. That emotional disconnection phase that she sent him through, that'll be his fault. Well, he never helped me with the baby. That's they go to. He never helped me with the child. So therefore, I was never able to get the break that I needed in order to recharge, in order to feel sexy, in order to feel like I wanted to do other wifely duties. And this is where the arguments would come in. If only he would help me, then it would have alleviated it. Anything to disregard her uh culpability in the situation. It's always Jermaine's fault. I swear to you. He doesn't help me with the babies. He doesn't help clean up. He doesn't. And do you have and it's a lot of times it's a lie, because there are a lot of men. There are a lot of men, and he ain't got to be in no 50-50 situation. He ain't got to be in no special financial situation. There are so many men that I have witnessed come in, they'll cook too. If he can cook, they'll cook too. They'll clean too. They see something messy, they'll go do it, because they know that a woman with multiple children, especially if her children kind of stair step and they all kind of small and they all kind of everywhere, he knows she needs some help. Rarely is it a man. That is a caricature of a man that will see his house in disarray and won't help. That's like not the norm. There's a smaller percentage of men that do that. The larger percentage of men, while they would appreciate that you did the bulk of it, come on. Come on. They're going to go in there and wash a dish. Do they want to have to do it all day, every day? No, because then that becomes a problem. But if he sees that it was busy, or he knows that y'all was gone all day and it's late, or blah, 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 or something, he'll sweep up sometimes. He'll wash a dish sometimes. He'll, you know what I'm saying? He'll do it. Why? Because he lit up too. He lit up too. And instead of always complaining about it, you just do it. As long as this isn't an ongoing issue where it becomes just an issue, I have never really seen a man really be mad at him having to straighten up something, or him having to wash a dish, or him having to I've never really seen that. I've never really seen that too many times. Only very rarely. My daddy was a whole street dude. A whole street dude. And when I say a whole street dude, I mean I don't never recall him ever in my life holding a 9 to 5 job. Never. Ever. He came in whenever, however, wherever, late or early, whatever. It didn't matter. He would come in, he would take a bath, because back in the day when I was growing up, it wasn't such thing as showers, but a lot of people, especially in the hood, didn't have showers. Didn't come necessarily standard. You came with a tub, and he would take the bath because he'd be grimy from working on cars and working on all that, and he would clean that whole bathroom when he got done. He didn't expect her. He done came in here at 2 a.m. He went in there and ran a bath. He went in there and took a bath. He didn't made a mess in the bathroom. He didn't expect my mama to get up and clean that. The bathroom was clean when he got in there. That's number one. It was spotless when he went in there. All he did was make sure he didn't leave it in a whirlwind for her to have to come right back behind him, clean it again. So he would get it, clean the tub and clean the sink and clean all the stuff he messed up. You just clean it. My husband don't make a whirlwind in the bathroom and then I gotta come clean it. It was clean when he went in there. You messed that up. You had something summer everywhere. All you doing cleaning up behind yourself. I be keep grown. But do he have to come in and just clean up all the time because I'm nasty? No. Because that would become an issue. Why is never nothing clean in here? So you nasty? You see what I'm saying? So all of the physical work of the relationship, all the providing, all of the physical things, all of the lifting and fixing and doing and making sure the cars is running good and making sure the bills is paid and making sure stuff in the house ain't falling apart and making sure all that's his responsibility, and all of the emotional workload. The reason why I'm pointing out the emotional workload is because that's actually our workload. That's a woman's workload. That's our job. If he's got to upkeep all the physical things in a relationship, and that doesn't mean he doesn't have any emotional responsibility, but it's ours for the majority. We have the emotional responsibility of the family because it's a feminine space. So we have that space. That's our domain. It's our wheelhouse. They're getting out of it. They're weaseling out of it by saying that because he's not a good man, he doesn't pay this, he doesn't do that. They was even trying to gaslight one of the guys that was on Hardly Initiated show. They was trying to gaslight him because he said he didn't want to be married to a woman that made significantly more than him. And he said it would be difficult for her to do that anyway because of the money that he makes. So she would have to be rich, rich, rich. He was like, and it's only so many women that do that anyway. So he wasn't really worried about it. But he was like, I'm not, because I can't. And they was like, oh, well, why not? Ain't nothing wrong with it. He was like, I'm not going to be respected in that house. He was like, for as many times I've heard women say they want a man to make equal or better and all that. He was like, I'm not going to have any respect in that house. He was like, I need to be able to make the rules. So that means I need to be able to pay the cost to be the boss. He's like, I'm not walking into that. I'm not getting into that. And the women was trying to gaslight him. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not no gender roles. So he said, let's do a poll. How many women in here would voluntarily get a house husband? He take care of everything in the house. You provide. You go to work. You pay for everything. And the majority of women was like, "Nah, I wouldn't want a house husband." He was like, "Exactly. Exactly. So why y'all trying to tell me if something wrong with me not wanting to get a woman that makes significant because I'm gonna be a house husband? I'm not doing that." And they really was like mad at him. They were mad because he wouldn't let them gaslight him into that. Hmm. Reciprocity. The off part of offloading emotional work to him is the concept of no reciprocity. No reciprocity. And finally, it's always Jermaine's fault. Always Jermaine's fault. After all that foolishness, he's pushed to the edge. Maybe he stepped out on the relationship at this point, right? She's hoping that he did to make the divorce proceedings go more her way. It'll be easier for the divorce to go her way if he cheats, right? See, women that push their husbands all the way, but he never cheats, these are the ones that have to file under irreconcilable differences, right? Because there was no infidelity, there was no proof of infidelity. This is why they go through your phone all the time. These women are not jealous. These women are finding evidence for the court, is what they're doing. Okay? She's not jealous. She's gathering evidence for the court. That's why she going through your social media, your DMs, your phone, this, that, and a third. She's looking for evidence. All of that arguing is just a pretense that goes into the evidence pile also. Oh, well, we were fighting and arguing, but she's hoping you hit her. That's another one. If you hit her, if she got one of them men that she thinks she can push towards violence, then she'll take a whooping for the divorce. She may take a couple of whoopings just to get a paper trail of it, to make sure that you're dangerous. You understand? To make sure that you can't get the children because you're dangerous. If she can't provoke him towards violence and she can't provoke him towards infidelities that she can prove, she'll just file under irreconcilable differences because she sabotaged the relationship to such a point where it is irretrievable. There is no more love. There is no more emotional connection. She destroyed that. She withheld the sex in order to lead to destruction of the emotional connection. Now, this man despises her. This man resents her. He resents her. So no, he never will feel the same about her. She said things, she's hit below the belt. She has came for his family. She has came for him as a man. She has emasculated and impugned his manhood. It's all Jermaine's fault. It means if she's acting out, it must be because of something he is or was doing. So if she is a consistent emasculator of him, if she emasculates him consistently, then it's because he's not masculine. He's not pulling his weight in the relationship. He's not doing this. He's not helping. He's not this. He's not that. He don't make enough money. Blah, 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 blah. A list of problems, which is the reason why she's emasculating him, because otherwise she wouldn't be emasculating him if he would just be a man and do what she says and act in the marriage how she want him to act and behave. It's always Jermaine's fault. Everything is gonna have to come back to it being his fault. She emasculates and talk crazy because of him. She throws tantrums because of him. She doesn't want to have sex because of him. He doesn't make her feel safe. He doesn't make her feel wanted. She doesn't trust him anymore. She's disobedient and unsubmissive because she doesn't trust his leadership, and he doesn't trust him anymore because the one time he made the decision and it didn't really work out, and so now I'm having trouble trusting him. And then when I can't trust him, then if he doesn't lead properly, then I'm not going to be able to submit. And if I don't feel submissive and in my feminine energy, then I'm not going to be able to have sex. You understand? What I'm doing right now is putting it together for you. All the little gynocratic talking points, I'm putting them in the perspective of how it works together to destroy relationships and marriages. Destroy your marriage. This is why it's not worth it for men. And then the icing on the cake, this is why they push for the state marriage. Because a man has sent a super chat on that show and was like, well, what if I just want to create like some type of other contract outside of state license in order to differentiate? You know what I mean? Like, I do want her to be my wife, but I don't want to go through the state. Oh, you're not married. What kind of stuff? What kind of question is that? You're not even married. If you ain't going through the state, hey, you're not married. This is why they push that. You're not married unless you go through the state. And listen, if you want to go through the state, go through it. I'm not here to tell people what to do. But I know you don't need the state to be married. I know the state of Illinois, the state of New York, and the other state can tell me which man love me and who I love. I don't need no state to tell me that I'm this man's wife. I'm my husband's wife because that's what we declared in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what we declared in front of the Muslim community. And that is what was declared in front of our family. And that is what we declared to each other in the house of Allah, in the house of worship. We married because of that. We're not married because of no piece of paper. You want somebody to be in your will? Make one. You want to create a contract of your own with your own stipulations that don't have nothing to do with state? Make your own stipulations between the two of you. Get it notarized. Put it up. These is the same women that push you for a state marriage. Is the same women talking about some. Why would you want her to sign a prenup? You don't love and trust her. Why would you want me to go through the state? You don't love and trust that I'm gonna be your husband regardless of what that paper say. You understand what I'm saying? The same women that be like, it's got to be the paperwork or else it ain't official, are the same women that when you bring up paperwork, all of a sudden this is an emotional thing, not a paperwork legal thing. And I said, well, what if they get sick, and what if they use that excuse? Now listen, I done told y'all so many times when my late husband, when he got sick, nobody has never, ever in the history of never asked me for that marriage license to prove I was nobody to him. All I did was come in there and say, I'm his wife. You his wife? Yes, ma'am. And I say, it go like this. Yeah. I double dog dare anybody to tell me to produce a piece of paper. I'm not producing nothing. So this is the game. This the real game. I just gave y'all the real game. The gynocratic way that they play that game with men. Why would a man get married under these circumstances? And they wonder why men are saying no, we gonna be passport bros or we just not gonna get married. Not especially not by the state. Anyway, let me get to these super chats here. Thank you, Tristan. Says sorry for being late. Remember, Coach Gray Adams said the same exact thing about women giving their love and attention to the babies and newborns over their husbands. Thank you, Tech and Peck said a return of DJ Fitchgrease. She ain't never really left. She just refined. Yeah. Thank you, Miss Mia, for your super sticker, sweetheart. Thank you, HVAC. So then this explains why they get Pookie the buns and then Prime and the good man can't get anything. If I can't get the buns, she out of the period. No questions asked, no quarter given. Thank you, Ricky, for your contribution. Thank you again, HVAC. Said, plus, this is why passport bros have no issue virtually when they get married overseas. Example, he's in the chat, Naughty American expat. Salute, brother. These women know that sex is always on the table. Thank you so much, Jeff, for your super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate you, good sis. Anything good gets side eye, while anything that seems bad is magnified. Exhausting good dudes. Exactly. Thank you so much, Lucifer, for your super sticker. I appreciate you. And thank you, Nia Moon. Said my ex-wife tried to instigate me into a physical altercation at a temple, was unsuccessful. So when she divorced me, the grounds for our divorce was, as you say, the irreconcilable differences. Exactly. Thank you. And thank you so much. Let me take a look at the Cash Apps and then we are out of here. Let me give a quick shout out to L and BP for the Cash Apps. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, it's the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.